Car culture has been heavily affected by the quarantine. Not too long ago up here in the north, it was cold, bitter, but we were very joyful. Many of us were looking forward to spring and the warm weather it'd bring, but also all the familiar faces we'd reunite with during car season. Unfortunately, the rapid spread of the virus gave us increasing lockdowns, closures, and quarantine measures. Car culture has frozen to a halt. I could tell you the few positive things, which I am going to, but it's very, very few, and it's not completely applicable to everyone. So right now, gas is extremely cheap. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but it is really, really cheap. Like in my location, it's like 60% off of what it used to be. Another benefit is that the roads are entirely empty, so you can drive to your heart's content, bomb all the hills, carve all the windy roads, and this is obviously due to the fact that many local governments have mandated essential-only trips, and a lot of businesses have converted into a work-from-home environment. Therefore, there just aren't people making 9-to-5 commutes like they usually are. In very severe locations or hotspots, people aren't just allowed to randomly drive on the road right now. A lot of places have actually closed roads or even controlled populations' ability to traverse from one area to another, because that's kind of the point of a quarantine. And this virus didn't just bring death, it also brought a lot of economic recession, with some of the car industries suffering the most. And this economic blow is not something that you as an individual should just kind of laugh off, because it's not an industry only blow. It does affect down to the individual level, like every other recession will. Even though a lot of people joked, oh cool, now we have a lot more time to work on our cars before car season starts up. A lot of my friends, acquaintances across all sorts of social media started to kind of just admit, I'm not going to have a car when car season starts back up, and that's the unfortunate reality some people are facing. People who lived paycheck to paycheck and also have a job right now that cannot be worked from home, they can't make their payments anymore. And it's only been a couple months in for the United States, so it hasn't really gotten to the worst of it yet, but there's already people getting cars repossessed depending on how stingy their banks are. A lot of banks will have a 3-month grace period where they're like, look, if you miss 3 payments, then we'll attempt the repossession. So about 1 more month in, we're about to see the used car market flood of repossessed cars, or people who've just traded in cars for super cheap, because even if you're not getting your car repossessed, a lot of people are trying to reduce their payments right now, so they're just willing to liquidate their car for anything. At this point in the video, I could gloat and say, haha, I told you so, always support paying in full and avoiding massive loans, and you bet your ass I'm gonna gloat a little bit because I deserve to. Yeah, I told you so. But I'm just going to leave the gloating just at that, because for now, let's focus on the people who unfortunately did take massive loans and are struggling to survive with this. Look, if you're struggling with a car payment and many other expenses, as you watch this video, know this. It's just a car. And I know that sounds very strange hearing a car guy tell you, but right now, put human life over the value of a vehicle. I am absolutely serious. If you have a family to take care of, if you have a duty to someone other than yourself, this is not a joke. And if you have to liquidate your car for money, maybe not now, but if that's something you genuinely think that you might have to think about in these coming months because maybe you're affected, you can always get your car back later. If not the same car, so what? You'll get a cheaper car. The sooner you admit, hey, I committed the big dum-dum by buying a 84-month loan, 50 grand fully spec'd Mustang that I put 0 down on, the less painful the whole situation is going to be for you. Now for the rest of the video, I'm going to spin this the other way, because this is actually overwhelmingly positive for some people as well. Those some people are very few, unfortunately, but for those who are financially responsible, you guys have so much reason to be excited for. As more people begin to lose their cars to repossession, missed payments, and stupidly cheap trade-ins because they're just trying to liquidate it to make their rent payments, a massive surge of bargain exotics, classics, you name it, it's gonna flood the market in the coming months. There are already some signs of this happening, but don't buy anything yet. That's assuming you even can, because most local dealers are actually closed due to the spread of the virus, so you couldn't even buy anything if you wanted to right now. But when they do open back up, know that they have numbers to catch up on. So the local dealers are going to be really antsy. They want to make sales back to make profit. Also, the manufacturers themselves will also be in the same state. They're going to be desperate to get cars. And then the entire car industry will be as well, because transportation as a whole is taking a huge toll right now because no one wants to buy anything transportation related during quarantine. This means that it's going to rapidly increase the supply because there's just so many cars not doing anything. But the demand is going to be non-existent because, again, no one really wants transportation-related stuff right now. Dealers are suffering, manufacturers are suffering, individuals don't care about them. So basic supply and demand would tell you, wow, we have all this supply of cars that is just continuing to rise as more and more cars just enter the market, but none of them are leaving and getting bought. It's just going to keep going and going, but the demand is so low. In fact, the demand is going to go down because no one is going to want any of these cars as the quarantine gets more and more rigorous over these coming months, while the supply of them is going to go higher and higher. The same thing happened in the 2008 financial crisis for a different reason, obviously. People were letting go of cars because they were foreclosing houses and they're going bankrupt and stuff. But for a different reason, cars back then were also becoming insanely cheap. And I dare argue this time around they might get even cheaper than last time, because this time the transportation industry is being directly attacked, whereas last time it was more so a side effect of the housing market crashing. Back to the bad news though, I kind of just thought of this just now. This can also purge a lot of cars. In the same way that the supply is having a massive surge, vehicles that just sit for too long end up becoming worth more in parts than they do as a vehicle as a whole. Cash for clunkers was a thing back then. God, what a program, let me tell you. The amount of poor classic cars that will forever be lost to time because they were murdered through that program. But if a program like that starts again, we're gonna say goodbye to a lot of classic cars again. So that's a lot to think about. So to run everything down, gas is cheap right now. Roads are empty. We're not even allowed on most of those roads in certain places where it's a hot spot. Cars will be very cheap in the next few months, but at the same time, certain cars may become even more rare after this whole situation is over, so even though they're cheap now, they may end up being destroyed because some people won't even bother. Like, you get the point. There can be so many things that can go in so many ways. There's no overall positive or negative about it, and we're just gonna have to see how this goes after this whole thing. It's not as simple as I thought it was of just, oh, prices are gonna go down because supply is going massively up. When people think of what to do, when supply gets that high, people get creative. They're like, what else can we do with these things? Oh yeah, that's right, we can part them out and just sell them that way. So don't underestimate the power of desperation. Stay safe out there. And just know that when this is all over, if you had to give up a sports car, that's fine. You can still show up to car meets. I promise we'll still be your friend and we'll still look forward to seeing each other then. So do try your best and stay alive. Thanks for watching and see y'all next time. Bladed Angel out.